All the United States presidents are direct descendants of European royal bloodlines. 34 of the US presidents carry lineage back to Charlemagne, the 8th century king of the Franks, and 19 of them can be traced back to King Edward III of England. This is no coincidence. The president with the most genetic royal lineage wins, as seen with all the American elections. Elections are just a sham to give the American people the illusion of choice, where two candidates are presented and we must choose which one we like more out of this popularity contest, not knowing that both are genetically connected. Did you know that George W. Bush and John Kerry are both 9th cousins, following their lineage back to Charlemagne? Did you know that Barack Obama and Dick Cheney are 8th cousins? And you thought you were the one choosing the president? What are the odds that out of over 300 million people, the two chosen candidates would coincidentally be distant cousins and descendants of the same monarch? If America is the land of freedom and was separated from European monarchies in 1776 by the Declaration of Independence, then why do the presidents follow a royal bloodline back to European monarchs? Obviously, the presidents are not democratically elected, as we are led to believe, but rather the presidents share lineage to royal bloodlines. George W. Bush is a descendant of King Henry I, the son of William the Conqueror, tying the Bush bloodline back to British royalty from the 12th century. William the Conqueror won the Battle of Hastings in 1076 AD and invaded Britain from France. The Sinclair family supported William in his invasion of Britain and were a prominent family. Al Gore is a cousin of Richard Nixon and is a direct descendant of King Edward I. This bloodline connects back to the Holy Roman Empire, and not only is Gore a cousin of Bush, but he is also tied back to King Charlemagne. So I did some digging on Donald Trump, and one of the things that I found out is Donald Trump is actually related to Hillary Clinton. Their 19th great-grandfather is King Edward III, so they are also involved in this presidential royal lineage as well. Not only is Donald Trump a descendant of King Edward III, but Trump also shows relations to Danish and Norwegian royalty. So many people claim that Donald Trump is trying to drain the swamp and that he is fighting the establishment from within. However, I don't think that could be further from the truth. The fact that he and Hillary Clinton are both related, and the fact that Trump is also a descendant of European royal monarchs, I find it almost impossible to believe that he could be fighting the establishment, since he seems to be no different than any of the other presidents we've had. Yet again, we can see an example of how the illusion of choice is presented and how Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are both related, and Donald Trump won because he shared the most royal lineage. It's the same story, just different presidents. The bloodlines of these European monarchs connect all the way back to Alexander the Great, who conquered Greece, Phoenicia, Syria, Persia, Babylon, and Egypt. He founded the city of Alexandria, which became the center of the most esoteric knowledge of the ancient world. Not only do the presidential bloodlines go back to Constantine, the first Christian emperor of the Roman Empire, but the bloodlines go back further before Alexander the Great, back to the Egyptian pharaohs, such as the lines of Amenhotep, Ramses, and Thutmose. For generations, these pharaohs, emperors, kings, and queens have ruled over us and interbred to pass down the bloodline. Since the beginning of history, these interconnected bloodlines have ruled over us and claim that they have the divine right to rule given by God or gods. It is the same lineage that for thousands upon thousands of years has claimed superiority and ruled over us from the dawn of recorded human history.
So your take on the New World Order is that it's really an old world order that originated from Atlantis, basically, and now the new name would be Zion?
I haven't said that explicitly, but that's a good way to say it, because it does seem that it's somewhat of a Zionist New World Order, though a lot of links, go to the Vatican and the Jesuits and Rome. The exact hierarchy, who's on the tippity top of the capstone, is still debatable in my mind. But there's definitely a group of rich psychopaths who have been leading humanity for thousands of years. Them and their progeny. It's a royal thing as well. If you look at it from monarchs, I mean, and pharaohs going back, actually the same blood, like the Bush bloodline, goes all the way back to the ancient Egyptian pharaohs and passes Roman emperors and a whole bunch of English kings and stuff along the way. So, I mean, we have had a conspiracy of sorts of familial rule over the peasantry. That's been going on for thousands of years. But now, in this century, now it's coming to a world order. It's coming into fruition. The United Nations and the European Union and all the countries, the nationalism is fading away, and we're coming into a international way of being, an international political and economic system. In a sense, if you look at it in a big picture, I don't think there's like immortals or reptilians necessarily, or aliens or something guiding the conspiracy for thousands of years like that. I just see, if you look at it from a long chain, it's just the progeny of psychopaths wanting power and control for thousands of years and being in a privileged position since birth to maintain that hierarchy. That kind of system, it has been going on for literally thousands of years. And if you don't know that, then the manifestation looks pretty much like one big conspiracy. And in a way it is.
Out of these troubled times, our fifth objective, a new world order, can emerge. A new era, freer from the threat of terror, stronger in the pursuit of justice, and more secure in the quest for peace. An era in which the nations of the world, East and West, North and South, can prosper and live in harmony. 100 generations have searched for this elusive path to peace, while 1,000 wars raged across the span of human endeavor. And today that new world is struggling to be born. A world quite different from the one we've known. A world where the rule of law supplants the rule of the jungle. A world in which nations recognize the shared responsibility for freedom and justice. A world where the strong respect the rights of the weak. We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders. What is at stake is more than one small country. It is a big idea, a new world order, where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind: peace and security, freedom, and the rule of law. Such is a world worthy of our struggle and worthy of our children's future.
From 1945 and the end of the war through 1989 and the end of the Cold War, we had a worldview. Republican and Democratic presidents alike, from Harry Truman to George Bush, stood for freedom. and stood for certain propositions that would make America strong and healthy and grow the middle class and shrink poverty and stand against communism. And after 1989, President Bush said, and it was a phrase that I often use myself, that we needed a new world order, and instead it looks like we got a lot of disorder. We still, and after 9/11, we've been more sensitive.
You believe deeply in your system, and we believe just as deeply in our system. It is not our common beliefs that have brought us together here, but our common interests and our common hopes. The interest that each of us has to maintain our independence and the security of our peoples, and the hope that each of us has to build a new world order in which nations and peoples with different systems and different values can live together in peace, respecting one another while disagreeing with one another, letting history rather than the battlefield be the judge.
The way we're going to win over the long term is not just militarily. We've got to win over hearts and minds. And what that means is we've got to invest in countries that have no educational infrastructure, have no means for young people to get ahead. We've got to give them a stake in creating the kind of world order that I think all of us would like to see.
It's the third time I've said that. I'll probably say it 3 more times. See, in my line of work, you got to keep repeating things over and over and over again for the truth to sink in, to kind of catapult the propaganda.